Hey there, John Shorby here from ReallyEasyGuitarLessons.com, and in this video lesson, I'm going to walk you through how to play a really easy strummy version of You Bring Out the Wild Side of Me by Dan Seals. This was a request by subscriber TagOwen4, so this one is for you, buddy. And this is a reminder to anybody watching out there that the floor is open for requests. So my channel is still pretty new. Still trying to figure out what kind of content to create. So if you've got any song suggestions or if you have any problems that need solving, comment below and I'll be happy to add them to the production schedule. So with that said, let's take a look at how to play this. I'm going to walk through what chords are used, what strumming pattern to use, and then I'll demonstrate it along with the isolated vocal. Let's get started. So for chords used, really simple, only 3 of them that we need. We're going to do a G, and since this is a country song, I'm going to do the G like this with the B string open. So 3rd fret E, 2nd fret A, open D, open G, open B, and 3rd fret E with my ring finger. And then we got to do a C, 3rd fret A, 2nd fret D, open G, 1st fret B, open E. There's our C, and then a D7, open D, 2nd fret G, 1st fret B, 2nd fret E. So those are only the 3 chords we need, G, C, and D7. If you're on the newer side of things, G to C is one of the hardest changes for newbies. So spending some time just changing between those 2 chords will go a long way, not just for this song, but for many songs that you're going to learn on guitar, because you're going to see G to C a lot. And sometimes D7 can give students some problems. So if you have troubles going from G to D7 or D7 back to G, you always want to isolate your hardest chord changes and focus on them. And then let's talk about the strumming pattern next. So I'm going to give you 2 options that you could do for this. There is an acoustic guitar on the recording. It's kind of buried in the mix, so it can't make out precisely what's going on, but from my ear, what I could tell, the song has a shuffled 8th note rhythm, so it's not 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so you're really playing all those 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 but the one thing that you could do to make it sound a little more exciting is accent beats 2 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So I'm just doing down up strumming. I'm just accenting those beats 2 and 4. And 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And if you don't want to use that strumming pattern, then you could go and rely on good old boom chicka, boom chicka, boom chicka, boom chicka, boom chicka. And with boom chicka, it's a down, down up pattern, but you want to split that between low strings and high strings. So depending on what chord you're on, if you're on the G, the low parts of the G chord, E, A, and D string, the high parts of the G chord, G, B, and E string. So you're doing a down on the low, a down up on the high. If you're playing this song by yourself, this is a completely acceptable pattern to use for this one. So and then you go to the C chord. It's the same idea. It's just the low part of the chord is now the A string. You don't want to hit the low E string. And you're doing that down, down up pattern, low strings, high strings, low, high, low, high. Okay? So when I demonstrate the song, I'm going to use both strumming patterns so you can kind of see in here what that's like. All right, let's organize these into our chord progression. So first we have an intro, which is you're just going to be hanging on G for 4 measures. So 4 measures, 4 instances of that strumming pattern. So the strumming pattern lasts 1 measure, so you can think of it as you do that strumming pattern 4 times on the G chord. And then when we get into our verse, it's kind of a long progression. I think it's, a 16-bar progression. So you're going to do G for a measure, C for a measure, and then G for 2 measures. So that's the first 4 bars. And then you're going to do G for 2 measures, D7 for 2 measures, G for 2 measures, C for 2 measures. And the last 4, G for a measure, D7 for a measure, G for 2 measures. Okay, so G, C, double G, G, D7, G, C, all of those chords, last two measures, and then the final one, G, D7, two measures of the G. All right, so the first thing I'll do is I'm going to put the isolated vocal on, and I'm just gonna play through the intro and the verse with that chord progression, and I'll start with the shuffled eighth note strumming pattern so you can see what that's like.
My friends all think I am a gentleman by the clothes that I wear, the things I say. But when I hold you in my arms, there's a feeling you set free. You bring out the wild side of me.
All right, I'll do the exact same thing, but I'll do it with boom chicka so you can hear the difference.
Friends all think I am a gentleman by the clothes that I wear, the things I say. But when I hold you in my arms, there's a feeling you set free. You bring out the wild side of me.
All right, now we're into our chorus chord progression, which is going to be C for two measures, G for two measures, C for two measures, and then a measure of G and two measures of D7. Then two measures of G, two measures of C, a measure of G, a measure of D7, and then two measures of G, which you can see that the last three chords there, the last four measures, the measure of G, the measure of D7, and the two measures of G. That's the same as the end of the verse. That's kind of like the tag where he's singing, you bring out the wild side of me, G, D7, and then two bars of G. So now I'm gonna play along with the chorus. Again, I'll do both strumming patterns so you can see what that's like.
No one's there to notice when the change comes over me. When I kiss your sweet lip and hold you tenderly, no one sees the stranger at the simple man in me. When you bring out the wild side of me.
All right, now with the boom chicka.
No one's there to notice when the change comes over me. When I kiss your sweet lip and hold you tenderly, no one sees the stranger at the simple man in me. When you bring out the wild side of me.
All right, then the next section you have is the solo, which is really just those last four measures of the verse and the chorus. A measure of G, a measure of D7, two measures of G. So it's the exact same thing as the end of the verse and the end of the chorus. And then for the second chorus, which is essentially kind of like the outro too, it's like a chorus and an outro. It's almost the same as the first one. There's just a couple of small variations. You start off with two measures of C, and then instead of doing two measures of G, you do a split measure, G for two beats, D7 for two beats, and then a full measure of G. So there's one little spot in there where you're going to change to a D7, and then two measures of C, a measure of G, two measures of D7, just like before. And the next line, same, 2 measures of G, 2 measures of C, then we got G, D7, and this is where now it changes because the tag is gonna come again. We got a measure of G, a measure of C, a measure of G, a measure of D7, and then it ends on the G. All right, I'll play along with that second chorus with both strumming patterns.
No one's there to notice when the change comes over me. When I kiss your sweet lips and hold you tenderly, no one sees the stranger that the simple man can be. When you bring out the wild side of me, oh, when you bring out the wild side of me.
All right, with the boom chicka.
No one's there to notice when the change comes over me. When I kiss your sweet lips and hold you tenderly, no one sees the stranger that the simple man can be. When you bring out the wild side of me, oh, when you bring out the wild side of me.
And then for the song structure, we have your intro, 4 bars of G, first verse, second verse, first chorus, solo, third verse, second chorus, and then that's the whole song. Okay, practice tips, just like with all really easy strumming versions of songs, memorize your chords first, only 3 in this case, pretty common basic chords for the beginner guitar player, but if you don't know how to play a D7, you gotta start there. I would highly recommend focusing on your changes from G to C in particular, because that's a hard one and you're gonna see it a lot. You could go through chord placing. I didn't do that in this video, but if, you know, these chord progressions are a little bit longer, on the longer side. So it would be beneficial to just kind of listen to the song and just strum the chord one time on beat 1 when it appears in the timeline. So you kind of get your head around what the progressions are and how long those chords last for. As always, when you're adding strumming to your chord changing, you want to make sure that your right hand does not stop moving. If it does, that is the tell that you need to work on your chord changes more in isolation. All right, that is it for this video lesson. Thank you so much for watching, and please keep the requests coming. Comment down below what songs you want to hear, what problems you want solved on guitar. Thanks again. See you next time.